Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Barber Motorsports Park for round number 2 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series presented by the SCCA Foundation. I'm Greg Ginsburg, and joining me in the announce booth as always is Larry Lefty McLeod with John Grabowski working behind the scenes, giving you all the best views of tonight's action. And so after opening Season 6 2 weeks ago at Imola, we head back across the Atlantic to Birmingham, Alabama, and George Barber's Dixieland Delight. Known as much for its museum, its giant trackside sculptures, and lately its bridge-jumping mannequins, as the 16-turn, 2.4-mile circuit penned by Alan Wilson just 20 years ago, Barber Motorsports Park features a flowing layout with numerous elevation and camber changes to challenge the most seasoned racers, and I think for our LMP3 racers tonight, probably going to keep their hands moving all night long. But it's also on the narrow side, having gained a reputation as a somewhat processional track for the likes of IndyCar, and it's going to present some unique challenges, as I mentioned, to our LMP3 racers and GT4 racers tonight during our 60-minute race. And so good evening, Larry, and welcome to Georgina's home, Barber Motorsports Park.
Hey, Greg. Yeah, apparently we do have to now watch for all new sorts of hazards with jumping mannequins coming dive bombing down to the track. I don't know that the folks at iRacing have gone ahead and put that in the sim, but that'll be next season's release, I'm sure.
That's right. They're going to do that before they do the curbing at the Watkins Glen bus stop, I'm sure.
Right. Well, if you don't know what we're talking about, that's what Google's for. You can figure all that out. Instead, tonight, we're going to be watching a lot of good action. I think we'll see a little more passing than perhaps the Indy cars might see out here. Yeah. We're going to have to see some. We've got multi-class in front of us between our GT4s and our LMP3s, so there better be some cars getting around each other. Otherwise, it'll be a long night to be in an LMP3.
It's going to be a very long night, exactly.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be exciting. You know, a second round, we've seen everybody kind of shake things out of how one round's going to go. We got another really big field tonight. This could be interesting at this interesting, fun to drive track here in Alabama.
Yeah, indeed. I think we've got right now 12 different LMP3 drivers on track, and we've got somewhere along the lines of, looks like 23, 24 GT4 cars as well. So it's going to make for a very hectic outing here tonight as our racers are completing their practice session here. They're going to be going out for qualifying in just a little bit. But Larry, why don't we, as we are wont to do, turn things over to Kevin Ford. He's going to give us tonight's track guide of Barber Motorsports Park.
Welcome, everyone, to Leeds, Alabama and the incredible Barber Motorsports Park. Great to have you with us as we provide you your track guide today around a relatively new course to the motorsports world. 2003, this track was constructed and originally designed as a motorcycle track. It did not take long. The motorsports world and auto racing got a hold of it right away, and they've been racing both here ever since. Well, let's head down the front straightaway here. As you notice, our pit area to the left. And no main grandstands here on the front straightaway. All the fans will gather on the hillsides to watch the races here at Barber. Heading down into this very fast drop off to the left, a bit of an off-camber turn 1 there. This takes you right into a right-hander of turns 2 and 3. Very tight wrapping carousel there out of 3. This will bring us up a hill, out of a blind entry there through 4. Then overtaking starts right here, heading down into this hairpin of turn 5. Very popular for passing coming down into the brake zone of that corner. Get a good run up off this hill as this will bring you onto the next straightaway. This track kind of wraps back and forth with these parallel straights next to each other. Heading up here into the corkscrew of turns 7, 8, and 9. Here we go, down into 9 here. Tight wrapping right-hander on exit. Up into 3rd gear. Get a good run up off this corner to get into this straightaway here. This has a slight little set of S's in the middle of it here. Turns 10 and 11. Right back to throttle. Back down the main backstretch here now. This will take us into the drop off of 12 and 13. Now back to the right for 13. Up over the corner, now down into 14. This will take us to our final 2 corners here. This tight wrapping right-hander of 15. And then down the hill here, just a slight lift of the throttle, right back to gas, and up out of 16, down onto the front straightaway. There you go. It's a busy place here, isn't it? Welcome to Barber Motorsports Park. Thank you for joining us.
And thanks so much to Kevin Ford for tonight's track guide of Barber Motorsports Park. And you know, Larry, he made it look kind of easy there in the GT4 car. I tend to imagine that these LMP3 racers, especially when they have to start dicing with the GT4 traffic, are going to have it a heck of a lot harder than Kevin made it look.
It could be, for sure, although the cars themselves aren't terribly difficult, but intermixing and trying to find offline better lines to get around them maybe present those challenges, and I think that's where some of the cream of the crop is going to rise to the top tonight. Those that are doing that well are going to find themselves with big gaps, and the ones that at the back may cause to have something to talk about as there may be incidents to call for here tonight in our 1-hour sprint.
That's right. Well, hopefully they'll give us something to talk about here tonight. All right. So we've got our drivers heading out on track right now for their 15-minute qualifying session. And as we always do, we give our drivers 4 laps in order to set their fastest time and set the grid for tonight's race. Most of the drivers are on their out lap right now. We were just watching Mariano Barrios trying to get his tires scrubbed in, get some heat in the equipment before he goes out for his first flying lap. And we're watching David Payton right now here on track. Larry, this is probably a good time while our drivers are finishing up their out laps. Let's quickly look back 2 weeks ago to the season opener at Imola. In GT4 AM, we had Lucas Dragotta, I think, get his very first win here in the sports car series in his Mercedes-AMG GT4. He's driving for Rennsport Racing. Had Neil Weston from HTPK in his Porsche Cayman finished second. Chuck Lobano from Frito Sport finishing third. And then David Klimovich in his debut in the sports car series finished just off the podium for Slow Bros Racing. He was driving another one of the Porsche Caymans. And then we had Stephen May from Mayforce finishing in 5th. In GT4 Pros, Kevin Carlisle, and he was smoking fast. We saw Carlisle a couple seasons ago driving a TCR car, Larry, and I know he gave Eric Violet fits back then, and I think that was season 4, if I remember correctly, when we were running the TCR cars. But he was just blindingly fast in his Mercedes 2 weeks ago. Took the win over Mariano Barrios from Friendly Neighborhood Racing. We finished second. Chris Thorman from D2D finished in third, and I think we're going to be talking to Chris a little bit later here in qualifying before our race goes out. Then Ken Copeland from The Wrong Stuff and David Payton from D2D Sim Racing finished 4th and 5th. And then finally in the LMP3s, of course, he was our last season's champion in the Ricmotech World Series in the GTP prototypes. Bailey Petrowski kicks off season number 6 as your first winner in his Ligier. Takes the win in LMP3 for D2D Sim Racing. Travis Schwenke from Orion finished second. Leo Dragotta finishing in third for Orion Racing. And then, didn't quite sweep the podium there. Mike Dam from Orion finished in 4th, with Eric Violet from D2D finishing in 5th in what was a 14-car field.
Yeah, some really good racing there, and I think we'll get a lot of that here tonight as well. And a pretty good-sized field, maybe not quite as big as our opening round here tonight. In fact, I'm only seeing about a handful of the GT4 Pros. They're going to be fast, but there are only going to be a few of them tonight. So see what kind of racing we get here as we're about a third of the way through opening qualifying.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I think we only have 6 pro drivers out here tonight in GT4.
But some fast ones.
Yes, exactly. So let's do this. Let's take a look here, so how you can pick our drivers out in the 3 different classes. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. The prototype cars, the LMP3 cars, they do all look pretty much the same. As a matter of fact, they are all the same. They're all running in the Ligier JSP 320 chassis. You can pick them out, though, easily because they've got the orange number boards on the sides of the cars, orange mirrors, and end plates on the wings. And if you look at the timing tower on the left-hand side of your screen, you'll notice that all those drivers in LMP3 are denoted in orange. In GT4, our GT4 AM drivers, we'll start, there we go. We'll start off with GT4 AM, like David Klimovich, who is our provisional pole sitter for the AM field. You can pick them out. They've got the green number boards, windshield banners, mirrors, and end plates on their wings, and you see them in green on the timing tower on the left-hand side of your screen. And the GT4 Pro drivers, I guess we can go back over to Kevin Carlisle, our round 1 winner. And Kevin, like our other pro drivers, red number boards, mirrors, end plates on the wings, and windshield banners as well. And they've got the Ricmotech red signifying those pro drivers on the timing tower on the left-hand side of your screen as well. All right, so let's take. I was going to say about 6 minutes in, and most of our drivers now, Larry, have put in 2 to 3 flying laps already. As we mentioned, Kevin Carlisle, currently your fastest GT4 Pro driver. He's got at the moment about 4/10, 45/100ths of a second on Chris Thorman from D2D. Mariano Barrios is only, I think, only another 300ths of a second back from Thorman at the moment. So really, really close there, up in the top 3. Jeff Jacobs, our 4th fastest driver, a little bit further back right now. You can see there he's got a fast lap of 1:28.717. So he's he's about a second off of provisional pole time currently in his BMW. If we take a look at GT4 AM, our winner from 2 weeks ago, Lucas Dragotta in the Dragonsport 119 Mercedes. He is currently your quickest driver in the class there, with Zach Mosley currently running second. And before I say that, jumping up to second now is Tom Jenkins, as Jenkins turns in a 1:28.39. So he's about 1400ths of a second off of Lucas Dragotta. And then we've got Zach Mosley, another 500ths back from there. And then in GT4 Pro, it is Kevin Carlisle, who we were following just a little while ago. in his Mercedes. He's already completed his 4 flying laps and has brought his car behind the wall. He's going to sit on a 127.81, 3/100ths of a second clear of the man we're watching right now, Robert Schwenkler. Schwenkler on his 3rd flying lap. We'll see if he can improve. And then 3rd fastest, Chris Thorman, and it looks like he's taking his car back to the pits after completing 3 laps. So, Larry, as we watch Robert Schwenkler here complete work lap number 3, let's bring in Chris Thorman, who is currently our 3rd fastest GT4 Pro driver, driving for D2D Sim Racing. Let's get his thoughts on season number 6.
All right, joining us tonight, here to start the evening tonight, Chris Thorman from D2D. So, Chris, it's interesting how this class that you're in. You know, I think there's only about 6 cars showed up in Pro Class tonight, but that's a pretty deep 6. So, what do you think about the competition tonight?
I'm just going to take it like my normal night. I'm just going to try to hold my position at the start and then see how it happens. I just take every race one race at a time, 1 lap at a time, try to keep it on the track and be as fast as I can be.
Yeah, this is a tough track. We thought perhaps maybe Imola would be tough with passing, and it's in a way kind of similar here to Barber, isn't it? And that it's going to be a lot of challenges between yourselves in the GT4s, and then the upcoming that you're going to see a lot of the LMPs trying to make passes. We're going to see some of those same issues with trying to be able to make progress and be able to let the LMP3s through.
I think it's going to be tough tonight. You're going to have to keep your head on a swivel. There's going to be it's hard to pass out here already, and then you got the LMPs coming through. Yeah, you're going to have to be ready all the time.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough round, only 2nd round tonight, so it's kind of that point of settle in. You had a really good 1st round finish there. I think you're up on the podium there at the first time out, and so it'd be great to be able to get top 3 points here tonight, but it's a long season for sure. One of the things I was going to ask, we started last week with these pre-race interviews to try and get a little bit more about the drivers. So here you are tonight. I'd like to know a little bit more about you. So what do you do when you're not sim racing with us on Monday nights?
Well, I live on a small farm. I have a few cattle, and I'm retired from working, and I just take care of the place when I'm not racing.
Is that actually relaxing, or is it just sort of a lot more work than maybe when you were doing your other pre-retirement job?
Some days I'm working harder, but it's more relaxing. And other days, it just depends on the day when you get old like me.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like a lot, but it sounds like a nice way to be if you're, once you get out of the worker world, work for somebody else, to be able to do it like that on your own. So that's really great.
My world runs on my time, except for extreme.
I like that though. That's good. At least we give you some place you have to be on time, and that place every Monday evening. It keeps you on a schedule. Then you got to have all the cows got to be put away for the night before you can head to the sim rig.
Everything's got to be done because I got to get here.
Oh, that's awesome. So what's your thought? You mentioned about just trying to survive here tonight. How comfortable are you with this track? I know it doesn't usually get a lot of love in a lot of the different series and things, but how much practice you had, and are you ready for this place? Do you feel like you're faster?
I think I'm ready. I don't have anything for Carlisle out there. He's just incredibly fast, but I really like this track. Except for the last turn, my favorite place to wreck is coming off the last turn, catch the grass, and hit the inside wall. Watch for me there tonight. If I screw up, that's where it will be. But
John, keep the camera there all night long.
We will definitely keep that.
I've been running in the lead here and touched that grass and hit the wall, took myself out.
We will definitely keep an eye for that. We'll just put a camera. We'll just have a secondary feed.
Yeah,
just
we'll
on
just
you.
do picture in picture just so we can track that all night long.
Yeah, since we've been interviewing you, of course we've got the shots ongoing, and we already watched Bobby wreck, I think, going into 5. So it sounds like there's a couple of places that could be treacherous for some drivers tonight. But we'll keep our eye for you. Hopefully yours doesn't come to bite you tonight. You can get through there cleanly.
I hope not. The track's a little warm right now, and hopefully it'll cool down a little bit, so my setup will get some better grip.
Let's hope so. So could be a good race tonight. Maybe, who knows? If you got a shot here to win this thing, it could be a night of attrition. Could be a lot of things here So good luck. Any thanks, compliments, or names you want to drop here before we start this race?
Just gotta always be with D2D. They always help me. They're the ones that got me up here, and we'll just keep on going.
All right. Well, big shout out to the D2D team. You got a full house of D2Ds here tonight. It'll be a lot of fun watching you and your teammates see what we can do. So good luck tonight, Chris, and maybe we'll talk to you in about an hour.
Thank you very much.
All right, everybody, that is Chris Thorman from D2D Sim Racing here, and we'll see him out in just a few moments as he's going to start fourth in GT4 Pro. And Larry, as we brought Mr. Thorman in, we did have Robert Schwenkler from The Wrong Stuff go to the GT4 pole as he pips Kevin Carlisle, our winner from 2 weeks ago. The difference between the Wrong Stuff driver and the SimCity Racing driver, about 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, going to be some pretty tight times there at the front of that field. That's a very deep GT4 Pro group. Again, only six
Yes.
tonight, but man, they are a very fast six.
Oh my gosh.
Any one of those six could walk away with this win tonight. So it could be a lot of fun to watch. And the same thing in the AM. It's a much bigger field. We get 18 in the AM group, but they're stacked.
Yes.
It's gonna be some tight competition tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some amazing racing at Imola, and I would expect nothing less here this evening, as we still have about 20 seconds going down here before qualifying ends. And so, Larry, this might be a good time to announce Ricmotech, our title sponsor, stepping up to the plate this season. They are going to be providing an award for one of our lucky Sports Car Series racers at the end of the season. They're going to be providing $100 in Ricmo bucks to a lucky driver, and it's going to be given away by random drawing. Those Ricmo bucks can be spent on purchases for any product at ricmotech.com. And so if you want to find out more about Ricmotech, as you said, head on over to ricmotech.com. All right, Larry, we got our drivers starting to grid up. Let's take a look at the starting order.
All right, well, I'll go ahead and take the LMP3s here tonight, and got a good field there, 12 of them to start this race. Let's start. LMP3s will get their own, GT4s will get their others, but let's go through the LMP3 field. On the pole tonight, a round one winner from D2D, Bailey Petrowski, and alongside on his outside is going to be Orion Racing's Mike Dam. On row two on the inside, another D2D driver right behind his teammates going to be Eric Violette. On the outside of row two, Aerokinetics, Tyler King. Row three, it's going to be another Orion driver. In fact, two of them. We got on the inside Rob Hartley, and on the outside, Leo Jagoda. On row four, it's another of the Orion drivers, Travis Schwenke. And you know that it's a tough field with Travis Schwenke starting this race at seventh. He's going to be alongside the third of our D2D entries, Bobby Childs. On row five, on the inside, Josh Vidal from Hutchsport Racing. And on the outside, the Wrong Stuff's Baron Glover. On row six, Marlon Jones from Leadpaw. And from Rockefeller Racing on the outside of row six, Aaron Beaver.
All right, let's move over to our GT4 racers, where we've got Robert Schwenkler starting on the pole for the Wrong Stuff Racing, with Kevin Carlisle starting right next to him in second. The SimCity Racing driver Mariano Barrios from Friendly Neighborhood Racing will start third, with Leo Dragotta fourth. Chris Thorman in fifth for D2D, with Jeff Jacobs starting in sixth. That will be sixth position, right? Starting seventh will be Tom Jenkins, with Zach Mosley starting right next to him. And then your fifth row will be David Klimovich and David Payton, pardon me. Starting 11th will be Chuck Labano with 11th will be Chuck Labano and Neil Weston. And then we've got Dale Maxwell and Russ Ruddick, Chris Klimovich and David Killo, Sean Ankney, another one of our rookies this season, alongside Elias Halabi, Andre Wedderburn from Mousespeed Racing, another one of our rookies, with Stephen May right beside him. Greg Brockway and Logan Doron will start next. And then we've got John Casey and Chad Sebrin. They will be starting 35th and 36th.
It's a big field of GT4 AMs tonight. 18 drivers deep. A couple of Klimoviches there, so the Klim Club will be in full force, I'm sure, in the chat.
And they are, Larry.
Yep.
Every last one of them. We've got Doug, we've got Christine, we've got, I think we've got Tanner Alcock, who's sitting in with the Klim Club tonight. And I think even Stubby might have come over to the Klim Club.
That's awesome. That's good. It's good to have a fan following. It brings numbers to our broadcast. We'll take it. We welcome them, and hopefully the two Klimoviches put on a show here tonight. It's going to be tough, though. The fastest of the GT4 AMs is Lucas Tragoda, the round 1 winner, and he's got a couple of the pros between him and his next rival, Tom Jenkins, Zach Mosley, the fourth with the David Klimovich, will be the highest of them. I think he's starting around row 5 overall in this GT4 intermixed field. So we'll see. A lot of fans get to watch the middle of the pack there in GT4. It's going to be a very interesting start around the Klimovich, Peyton, Chuck Labano, Neil Weston groups.
Indeed, Larry. All right, so tonight's race stewards are provided by the SCCA Foundation. The SCCA Foundation provides funding for the SCCA Academy, training the next generation of race workers and volunteers that make real-life road racing events possible. Visit sccafoundation.org for more information. All right, and we've got the safety car now bringing the cars around, our LMP3 cars, Larry, through the final corners, I believe, here. And pace car is now on the pit lane, turning the field over to our pole sitter, Bailey Petrowski, our winner from round number 1, with Mike Dam right beside row number 2, Tyler King and Eric Violette as they come onto the front straight and wait to hear the word from our live starter. And green flag is in the air, and we are racing here at Barber Motorsports Park.
Bit of a slow start for Mike Dam with an outside row, leaving the two DTDs right down the inside of Petrowski and Eric Violette. Although Dam's able to get
we've
the
got
late
a number
breaks.
of drivers off over at
boy.
turn 1. We'll get those numbers here in just a few moments. I think one of them might have been Bobby Childs. I think Bobby Childs and possibly Josh Vidal as well.
Hopefully he's gone before this group, the GT4s, get there.
And now GT4 cars get the green flag, and they are racing at Barber with Robert Schwenkler and Kevin Carlisle on the front row. Schwenkler in the McLaren cuts right across the nose of Carlisle. Schwenkler cuts across the nose of Carlisle with Mariano Barrios trying to go around the outside. He manages to hold off Lucas Tragoda, who is our AM category leader, starting in 4th here within Thorman and Jacobs, as most of the GT4 machines make it safely through turn 1. And by the time they get out of turn number 3, they are all they're not all single filed as they come down to the hairpin Charlotte's Web.
Yeah, well, that downhill braking on cold tires makes things very interesting. At least the front, about 7-8 cars have kind of gotten in single file. Still back there, maybe around 10th, 11th, they are side by side as they come out of that turn 5 hairpin, and now they head down through the turn 7 and 8 complex, and already that's your pole sitter Schwenkler that's off.
Schwenkler into the wall as they came down the corkscrew.
Wow.
And as Robert Schwenkler now dropping all the way to the back of the GT4 field. That is going to leave Kevin Carlisle all alone. It looks like we've got another car off as well.
Didn't catch a number on that one, but Schwenkler, I'm starting to wonder if maybe he could hit a curb, cold tires. It's another one of those downhill braking, and with all the curbing and stuff, it's very rough down there.
I think that was Zach Mosley who went off, Larry.
Okay.
All right, I'll tell you what, let's go over, take a look, and we'll see what happened with Bobby Childs on lap number 1, turn number 1, as they start to head up the hill into the carousel.
Oh, wow, the car on the inside spins, and that actually taps into Bobby.
Yeah,
that was Vidal.
Vidal, who got the back end of Bobby Childs and sent him around.
Yeah, so Bobby just an innocent victim in that one. But let's flash back for a minute up here to the front of the field. And now let's take a look at the Schwenkler incident. So he had already gotten past a bad exit coming out of there, and it looks like he comes in to the turn 7 and just hits that curb on the way in. And
wow. And Larry, he goes very, very close to taking Kevin Carlisle along with him. There might have been even a little bit of contact in the rear, but Carlisle, I guess, enough momentum to get him through the carousel.
Carlisle very lucky. Yeah, both he and Schwenkler very lucky there wasn't more contact there. So, all right, so we flash back up to the LMP3s. That's Travis Schwenke we got an eye on now. Currently 5th, but he's right in front of Hartley and Dragoda, his teammates.
All right, Larry, the hits, they keep on coming here, coming down into turn number 1 and 2 for the second lap. Oof. Number of drivers off. I think Dale Maxwell was involved.
Yeah.
Looks like the Aston of
that's Tom Jenkins.
Tom Jenkins. 68. Yeah, and the midfield motorsports car.
Yep. And then another one, Peyton here. You can see Peyton involved just at the end of that, all in that same instant. So a couple of cars went off. I see that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Peyton
David,
now spinning.
Yep. And on a corner much earlier than he expected to.
Because he comes up in it after diving to the side to miss the one incident. I think he had David Klimovich in his way, and Klimovich may have had a bit of an off, got into the grass also around that same time. So luckily for him, he was able to. They were all able to continue, I think. But we'll catch up with that in a minute as we flash back up to our second place right now, Eric Violette, who's just ahead of Tyler King and Mike Dam.
It does appear, though, that Dale Maxwell did take his Mercedes down the pit lane, so it looks like he'll be there getting some repairs for a while. But, yeah, as you mentioned, that's Eric Violette, who is already about 3.5 seconds in arrears of his D2D teammate, Bailey Petrowski, as Petrowski starting to work his way through the back of our GT4 traffic.
And look at that puff of smoke that came off of Violet's car. These cars do not have ABS, and that makes it extremely difficult in a lot of these elevation changing braking zones, like right here through this turn 8. Really difficult to get that car slowed down without locking up one of the ends over the other. But now look at this, they're side by side in front of him, and there's just no room for Eric to go, and he's lost ground already to his teammate 5 seconds up the road in just 3.5 laps.
All right, just got a word from race control, Larry, that Josh Vidal has been it's been given responsibility for the incident with Bobby Childs. No in-race penalty, but there will be a post-race action, apparently.
Yeah, that makes sense. Again, he kind of lost himself going into that first turn, first lap. For Bobby, unfortunately, kind of wiped him out of there a little bit. So take a look here. There's Neil Weston in the Porsche. Just going to the inside. I think it was Sean Ankney they just went through on that BMW. And that's just coming around. Is that race leader Petrowski, or is that? Yes, it is.
That is Bailey Petrowski coming through Charlotte's Web with the big giant spider there on the outside of the corner.
Lots of really interesting artwork around Barber Motorsports Park, as the spider is just one example of it.
You know, I just, one of my friends with the North Carolina region of the SCCA sent me a link the other day that apparently down in Alabama, the local Birmingham PBS station had a full hour-long documentary on Barber Motorsports Park, and spent a lot of time on the motorcycle museum and the gestation and how George Barber's collection, primarily motorcycles but automobiles as well, came to be. And he had a pretty good history of sports car racing, primarily in the Sports Car Club of America. In his youth, both when he was in college and just out of college as well. And of course, his family owned a local dairy in Birmingham.
It's an interesting place. I definitely want to visit this one in real life one of these days. Get down there, maybe turn a couple laps. It looks like an interesting place to go. All the elevation changes, but for racing, very difficult, as you can see already. Is you got everything is a bend, it's a twist, and then it's either an uphill or it's a downhill. Sometimes both here as they're coming around turn 4.
Yeah, matter of fact, was speaking with DJ Clark, who spent a lot of time as an Apex Racing TV commentator. He's got a nice gig right now. He's a pit lane reporter for the Indy Next series. Also does the GR Cup and a lot of SRO races as well. But he was just there with IndyCar and Indy Next a couple of weeks ago for the very first time, and he is just enamored with the place. Coming down that corkscrew, a little difference in elevation compared to WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, but that is still a challenging corner, Larry, because there is such a tendency to enter the top of that corkscrew with too much speed, and I think that's what we saw with Schwenkler. Was it Schwenkler? Yes, you hit the curb the wrong way too, and it'll just throw the car all over the place.
This is getting interesting right in here as one of our Orion cars is trying to duck in, and of course behind them the Frito Sport entry trying to get out of the way, as it looked like that was a pass. I think Mike Dam got around Tyler King there on that front straightaway with the traffic in front of him. So great pass there for Dam. now getting ahead of the Aerokinetics entry. That was a good, but it's a tough place to pass. But oh, there's a lockup now in front of the big. That's Violet again coming through turn 5.
Oh, and another machine off there as well. Looks like it ran wide coming out of the hairpin. Dale Maxwell, I think.
Oh, and that's a whole lot of curb for Mike Dam as he comes up down there into turn 8. That's the same thing that caused
just talking about how difficult that corkscrew is if you carry too much speed in there, and you're seeing it there. Lots of brake lock up from the LMP3s.
Let's look at this replay here of Mike Dam getting around Tyler King, gets a much better run off that last corner, Chris Thorman's least favorite, and then he's able to just use the rest of this traffic in front of him to take the position. Appreciate the Frito Sport entry kind of dodging out of the way, but man, that makes things a little hectic coming around the exit of 1.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Dam now trying to maintain pace with Violet right in front of him. They're still about 3.5 seconds back from Bailey Petrowski, but looks like they've got warmer tires, kind of settling in, and Mike Dam looks like one of the quickest cars on the track.
Yeah, indeed, that last time by, lapping about 0.3 faster than Eric Violet, and he made up a lot of ground after having been mired in traffic on the previous lap to get right there, and he's left Tyler King now about a second behind. King now under attack from Mike Dam's teammate Travis Schwenke.
And then, now a couple seconds back, Rob Hartley, and then Leo Dragotta. It's a whole train of Orions there running from second. They've got 4 out of the 5 positions there between a third position back to 7th. Let's see if these two just try to make a little bit of a collaboration to keep Petrowski within fighting distance. But Eric Violet, always a good teammate. He might make it difficult for Mike Dam and let Bailey have a little bit of a run here tonight.
All right, this is a nice little fight going on. This is the battle for 9th in AM. We've got Andre Wedderburn, Sean Ackney, Zach Mosley, and we're on board now with Greg Brockway from Frito Sport Racing.
And Mosley right up under the back end of the BMW of Sean Ackney. Mosley and his Mercedes going to try and make a move to the inside. This gets tight down here as they come through 11 to 12. Ackney kind of gives him an opportunity, lets him through. Maybe not wanting to take the short-term fight, playing the long game here.
Ooh. And it looks like the two of them trying to figure out those final corners, trying to figure out turn 15. Very hard to get that car squared up and set up for the final corner.
Wes Ruddick right there in front of David Klimovich and right behind Chris Klimovich. Klimovich is running 3rd and 5th in the M class so far tonight.
So yeah, David Klimovich in the 21 coming off it. And I think early when we saw that impact up at turn 1. Oh, and going.
Oh, that's Ruddick all by himself.
A ride. Yeah, Russ Ruddick.
I think he hit that same curb coming into that corkscrew sequence. This time he might have caught the curb more on the right than the left, but still same result. It's a spin.
Yep, sends the rear end of the car around.
That should leave the Klimoviches moving on, as I think David was able to get around him unscathed. So now David can make his way to try and catch up to Chris in front of him now.
Yeah, so that now moves Chris up to 3rd in Pro and David in 4th.
In AM.
Did I say Pro? Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. In the AM. And
they haven't invaded Pro yet. I'm sure there'll be a Klimovich in the Pro class soon.
It'll be coming.
There's your leader in GT4 Pro, Kevin Carlisle. Kevin got about 3 seconds or so on Mariano Barrios. He's able to play the patient game. He can go ahead and let the LMP3s by at his leisure. Not too worried about being pressured from behind right now. These Mercedes, I tell you, they seem quick here.
Indeed. I mean, it certainly helps that he hasn't really been under pressure. Both he and Schwenkler were
Yeah.
a couple tenths up on Barrios and the rest of the pro field here in qualifying, and so without Schwinkler to really push the issue.
And you can see Schwinkler currently in 5th, but he's got to get through this, which is a lot of the AM traffic. So he's behind about 5 of them before he can catch Jeff Jacobs, who's his nearest rival, 10 seconds up the road. And it doesn't help the 2 in front of him. Elias Alabi and Neil Weston are battling each other, as they should be, but it doesn't make it easy for your original pole sitter there
to get
Schwinkler.
by. Yeah. Although Schwinkler, I'll tell you, it's a heck of a recovery drive for him so far. He's made up now, I think, 8 positions since that turn 1 off. And actually, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, no, actually 9 positions.
This is going to be a tough one to get by because it looks like these 2 are scrapping pretty rough and not leaving anything. There's a lobby in the Aston, and then right behind him, Weston in the Porsche. And this place is always tough to pass. There isn't like that long straightaway where you can just sort of draft around at all. This is just a real twisting ribbon of asphalt here. There isn't much for straightaway.
Yeah, I was going to say the closest thing that you have is, you've got coming out of the corkscrew going all the way up to turn 12, but you've got the S's. You've got the S's like right in the middle to break that up.
Yep.
Schwinkler going to dive down to the inside.
As this battle's now waging, as Mike Dam is putting the pressure on Violet, we thought maybe Mike Dam would play the patient game, but this isn't showing much patience.
No,
he's going to up and under him though.
All right, just a quick update there. Schwinkler did get around Neil Weston, so move him up another spot.
Well, they're going to catch up to, I think that's, the 68 there, midfield motorsport of Tom Jenkins right in front of him. Jenkins has already had his action, enough of it for the night. But Mike Dam's going to use him like a pick, though. Look at the defensive line from Violet to cut him off.
So, Larry, given how much brake lockup the LMP3 drivers are having to deal with, and we even saw that from Eric Violet just on the slower speed corner right behind the midfield motorsports car. How do you think over the course of a 60-minute race that's going to affect, say, the left outside tire here?
It easily could. It could affect the tires. What I find with these cars is you're constantly playing with your brake bias as the tires wear, as the car changes. You just keep tweaking that bias and looking for a more optimal adjustment because it just keeps changing. But I don't know how much tire wear this place offers, but we will be seeing pit stops in the next maybe 15-20 minutes. We might see a couple drivers try and get a new set of tires on there for the finish because they're definitely, especially these 2, they're working. Oh, that's a big lockup from both of them coming in.
And Larry, I've been watching there, not that far behind is Travis Schwenke. I've been thrown off by the color scheme on the car. Actually, is that I'm sorry, that's not Schwenke. I'm looking, it's actually a lapped car. I think the one 3 cars ahead of.
Yes.
Yeah. That is. I think that is that Vidal. I think that's Vidal.
Could be Vidal. Yes, I think after his time in the pits, I think he had come in for some repairs. And that's your leader, Petrowski, going around a couple of the GT4s there. That's David Klimovich in the 21. And Chris Klimovich, they are going to be side by side across the stripe down into 1. Which Klimovich yields, Chris is going to give David the opportunity to take the inside. I can tell them apart. I know in the chat. Plain Joe wasn't sure.
David's in green. David's always in green. And Chris is in red.
Well, they've got a couple of dueling LMB3s coming up behind them. Better watch it because there goes Eric Violet and there's Mike Dam right behind him.
All right, let's jump back to this fight between Violet and Dam. And, all the while Petrowski is about five and a half seconds up the road from these 2. Ooh, Mike Dam getting very loose stepping through there.
Yeah, these two, I don't know if they're fantastic drivers. These are two of the best drivers we have seen in the Extreme Ricmotech series over the last number of years, but they are pushing hard. And if they continue at this pace, with as many opportunities there are for mistakes to run this track, it's no guarantee they'll both make it to the checker.
Yes.
It could be checker or wrecker for these two. Meanwhile, Petrowski's pulled out another couple of seconds on them, as he's been running low 17s out here the last few times around.
He just turned in a 17 flat, Larry.
Yeah, that's about as low as you can get. As Marlon Jones now making his way through, and I think he's got an Aaron Beaver just on his tail trying to get on by. No pun intended, Beaver tail. See what I did there?
Ah. Yeah, I was taking a look though, Larry, early on in the week, and I'm sure this was probably on a low fuel run. Petrowski had his Ligier down to a 1:16.8. Oh my!
We've got a Bobby sighting.
Oh, Aaron. Yep, Aaron Beaver, Marlon Jones, and Bobby Childs.
Battle we had just were watching a second ago there between Jones and Beaver. Now it's Childs. All three of them, I think, or at least two of them, have made their way to the pits.
All right, let's take a look and see how it happened here.
Well, there's Bobby behind them.
He just get caught up in
out in front of them, and then Bobby had nowhere to go.
Well, I don't know. It looks like Bobby had a little target fixation there. He moved all the way over driver's left as the other drivers were going that way.
I think there was already contact between Jones and Aaron Beaver. And I think
there were.
Replay here.
It just looked as though Bobby.
Let's watch this here. It actually looks like Aaron Beaver may have had contact with the GT4 car, which caused him to then spin towards Marlon Jones. So 4 cars technically involved in that. That's a lot of contact at a high speed and low grip area there at the rise coming out of 4.
Indeed. So Bobby's in the pits. Beaver's in the pits.
Wow, that was a violent wreck that took out a lot of cars. Going to reduce traffic a little bit if you want to be an optimist. All right, well, let's get back to the Klimovich battle.
Exactly.
As Chris now wants the inside line there, and I don't think that David's going to give it to him.
All right, let's jump back up to this is our GT3 AM leader, Larry. Lucas Dragota took the win at Imola 2 weeks ago, currently leading AM, and he's currently third in all of our GT4 machines here. Great run for him so far.
Yeah, having a good run so far. He's got to watch. He's got a Chuck Labano with some pretty good pace going tonight. Just about 2 seconds back. At 2 seconds with, things like that, getting a little too wide and catch the grass, that could cost him. Obviously with Chris Thorman, our previous interviewee, right there behind him, pressuring him. So he's actually in the middle of a race. Remember, even though you're scored within your class, you do collect points based on your overall position in the GT4s. And right now, Chris Thorman wants those points. He's going to duck to the inside right underneath Lucas. And Thorman still third in pro. And now they've got one of our Orion cars next to him. Is that Schwenke or is that Jagoda? That is the other Jagoda.
That is Leo.
That is Leo. So Leo now jumping past Lucas. Probably give him a little wave on his way on by. And then he, of course, locks up going down through the corkscrew.
And for a moment there, Larry, coming out of the hairpin, looked like there might have been a brief touch between Lucas Dragota and Chris Thorman. There, he saw a very odd movement over to driver's right from the Dragota machine, but it looked like it didn't affect them all that much.
Well, this battle's still going on. It looks awesome as Eric Violette now gets to be the lead through any of the traffic fighting, and Mike Dam
runs wide.
Where did Mike Dam just get sent to? He's still there.
Well, he got sent to the grass, Larry. did it on its own, and from looking at the tire tracks through the grass, he took a path that is apparently well known over there.
Wow. Well, he's survived somehow. Got around Chad Sebring right there in that Mercedes as well before he got down to turn 5. So he hasn't lost a ton of ground, just 7 or 8 tenths. He was right underneath the rear deck. But look at the lockup now. It seems like every time down that section.
Every time through the corkscrew, Paley Petrowski, just a quick update, Larry. I told you Petrowski ran an 18 flat in or probably a 16.8 in practice. He's now down to a 16.85.
Yeah. He's got pace tonight for sure.
He does.
He
Yeah,
looks
as that car is
smooth.
getting lighter, he's just getting faster.
And with the battle going on for second behind him between his teammate Eric Violet and the Orion driver Mike Dam, that's just helping him open up this gap. Because we don't even know what the pure pace is between Violet and Dam, because they are just racing to race, and it's fun to watch. Not always the fastest way to cover laps around this place. This is the Weston.
Neil and Halabi, along with Russ Ruddick as well. And Halabi gets around, Weston gets around Halabi, and Ruddick's got a pretty good run here as well.
Yeah, he's on the outside, though. It's tough. There's really no place to go down there. And didn't he already have issues in that corner tonight?
Yes, he did.
So I don't think he wants to dance with that devil again. Us taking the shortest distance line through here, getting a good run. So close, right up behind him as they hunt up through this little quick dip left, right. There's a rhythm to that. And look at that. You can see the elevation. I love the onboard. You can really see how this
when
place
you crest over that hill, and when I run it, that always gives me trouble. Is just that little rise in the crest of the hill there, and always end up right in the Armco driver's left.
In the sim, of course. You would.
Yes, in the sim.
Car. Yeah. You would never wreck a real car at a real racetrack.
No, never. No, I stopped doing that 20 years ago.
Now you just teach others how to do it.
Yes, how they do it. Yeah.
All right, so
I teach off-road recovery.
Mike Dam gets back under his pressuring position behind Eric Violet as they come up on some more GT4 traffic. That's, I think, 62 at Brockway. They're going around there. And then right in front of them, Tom Jenkins seems to be in every critical shot tonight.
He's everywhere tonight.
He is. And they're going to do a little slalom, and this might be Mike Dam's opportunity. Is this it? Is he going to be able to make the pass? They're going to go 4 wide. He's going to go 3 wide on the exit. Does the 150 see him? That's Andre Wedderburn. Did he see him there? Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Dam had just enough room.
Wow.
So move Dam up in the second now.
It was a wonderful series of passing there, and I think that was Marlon Jones that was also kind of in the middle of that. Let's catch a replay on this one. Let's follow Mike Dam by the chopper view here. Look at this traffic. It just shoots for daylight and goes, yeah, let's make this 3 or 4 wide through here. Eric Violet says, yeah, maybe next time. Wedderburn, great job of recognizing what was going on his right side. That was heads-up driving from Wedderburn.
Well, that was good because Wedderburn, who was the slower LMP3?
Marlon Jones.
That was Marlon. Because Wedderburn came down on to the apex at the hairpin there, and I think really caught Marlon out.
But Marlon recovered quickly, so both Marlon and Wedderburn recognizing the situation. Well done there as these two now. We were a few minutes ago talking about this battle between Weston and Alabi. Well, that was Alabi and Russ Ruddick that just watched these two blurs go on by. And there's Weston having to do the same.
And just the GT4 traffic, Larry, is just keeping these two racers together.
Yeah, this is fantastic. And
it's no way that either one of them can escape, and it's great racing.
Yeah, that's David Killow there, letting this two go on by. Not so much letting, or at least watching them go by.
Yeah.
I think by the time he has the recognition to see it there, they're already past.
They're already past, yeah.
Yeah, but they're doing mid-18s, fighting each other at every corner through traffic. This is wild.
Both hit the grass that time through.
It'll grow back.
Yeah, eventually. And there's a lot of traffic that they're coming up here on the front row.
Mosley. And
this
then we've got
fun.
Well, you got Chris Kovacic. Oh boy, and then you've got your pole sitter from GT4, Robert Schwenkler, the next victim up. Yeah, he should be right up ahead of here.
There he is in the McLaren.
He wants nothing to do with anything that'll slow him down tonight. Schwenkler seems to be on a mission right now.
Yeah, he's now well.
This may help him a little bit. I think David Klimovich had to give up just a bit as those two ducked inside, so that might help the the storming Schwenkler catch up to David Klimovich here.
Yeah, and I think he's made up 2 positions since we saw him last. Of course, he got around Zach Mosley and got around Chris Klimovich as well. So that puts Schwenkler, I think, 8th overall in Pro. Probably 8th overall in GT4. Sorry.
Well, the irony of this battle is not lost on me. As we've called a lot of races with Eric Violet and with Mike Dam over the years, and the one thing these two seem to do better than everybody else, save fuel and save tires. What are they not doing right now? They are nowhere near saving fuel or tires. No. These two are on the ragged edge, lap after lap, corner after corner. This is great. This is enough of that boring fuel efficiency and save the car stuff. This is what it should be. They're flying though. Low 17s now last time through as they go around Jeff Jacobs. Oh, it's the battle for 5th. Hartley now trying to get his way around Wedderburn, I think that is. No, sorry, it's Mosley.
Mosley.
Yep, that's Mosley. And then Chris Klimovich, and that's going to be a little excursion there for Tyler King. He manages to keep it back on pavement. Right in behind.
Yeah, but Hartley went into the went over the curbing into the dirt as well.
Yeah, and then they're right behind Schwenkler now. Schwenkler's getting tired of seeing these guys. This is a tough place for Schwenkler to have to let one of them through. King is going to get stuck behind Schwenkler, as David Klimovich now is going to have mirrors full of LMP3s.
All right, as we go over and take a look at Tyler King's view.
Oh, this ought to be great.
Oh my gosh.
Where does he go? And he comes up this hill on full watt. Tries to go to the outside of Chris Klimovich, and that door shut quickly.
And you saw there where Hartley got into the curbing driver's right, shot him across driver's left into the grass.
Tyler King, there's just ice in his veins. Doesn't even care. Right in the grass, back on like nothing. That was beautiful.
All right, we just had Baron Glover come down the pit lane, Larry, and take service. I believe he is the first, other than Josh Vidal, who had to go into the pits early for damage repair. He is the first of our drivers to take a pit stop, as the pit window for the LMP3 cars opened up around lap 16. Oh, look at this.
Little battle of a Mercedes going on. Lucas now. Lucas Jagoda, Chuck Labano. This is your lead in AM. Labano looks racy. He got a real conservative start. I think he even had some interactions with some cars there at the start that we didn't quite see all of. He was in the middle of all those, but now he's caught right up to the Dragon Sport Lucas, and he is all over the back of him.
He is, and I'm wondering if Lucas might have, as he was working to hold off Chris Thorman for so long, I'm wondering if that gave Labano that opportunity to move up. But we can see, jumping over the curbs, how much it throws that Mercedes around.
I think Labano just didn't get the qualifying lap that he wanted. I think that really hurt him. He had to work from behind to get here. I think, from what I'm seeing, he's turned a faster lap than Lucas has done tonight, and he seems quite a bit quicker at this stage from just what we're seeing here. I wouldn't be surprised if he right now is faster, as Travis Schwenke looks to go on by.
Yeah, he has put in a fast lap that's almost 3/10 faster than Dragoda.
This could help. Yeah, this could definitely help Labano here, as Dragoda has got to worry about a Travis Schwenke going by. His brother's teammates. Is he going to yell across the basement and say, hey, Leo, tell your teammate to leave me alone?
All right, Josh Vidal coming down the pit lane again. Now I think taking what is probably his regular service.
Yeah, at this point we're past the halfway point of the race. Pit windows are definitely open for everybody. I think we're going to see a rush come in at some point. With this traffic tonight, my strategy would be, as soon as, if I'm in an LMP3 car and I come up on more than 2 GT4s, I'm probably going to dive into the pits. Yeah. And if you're a GT4 car, if you see any other traffic, or if you're Robert Schwenkler, you know you're on a recovery drive anyway, and it's tough to get around David Klimovich, maybe try and pass him in the pits. We'll see if he decides to do something like that here in the next couple laps. He struggled there, it looked like, to get the car turned in at the bottom of turn 8.
It's a lobby battle here.
Yeah, he and Russ have had a pretty good scrap for quite a while now.
And Russ keeps getting good exit speed here in a lot of places. Just does not have a way to get by that portion of them.
There is something about, a lot of tracks you can get away with overcooking entries. This is not one of them. And I think being a driver who often does a slow in, fast out, this place plays to your advantage because of all the downhill braking. It's better to go a little slow. Russ Ruddock, good opportunity to pit. As now we flash ahead to the battle again of Dragotta and Labano, continuing, this time having to deal with some LMP3 traffic, but as Vidal went on by, we've seen a lot of him tonight in various states. Playing it nicely.
All right, let's Larry, let's watch this lap here between Dragotta and Labano, and then we'll likely take a break here as we're getting to the top of the hour.
Labano looking very smooth, very tidy with that car. I would not be surprised if this is where Labano pulls in and does his stop.
Oh, yep.
And no, he just has very different lines through 14. Huh.
I was wondering if he was just going to go fast and head into the pit lane there.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, it takes a very shallow entrance there to turn 15. I thought he was going to come right into the door of Lucas.
It almost like he's struggling. They're braking at different points. They have slightly different lines. If I'm Chuck Labano, I'd see that and say, you know what? I'm faster by myself. Let me go in for the pits and come back out and force Lucas to make a decision. We'll see if Labano continues this way or if he decides to pull it in.
All right, Larry. David Klimovich now on the pit lane. He pits in. Had been running in third as he goes to take service. We've got, I think, looks like Logan Doyer in his BMW heading back out. But let's do this. Let's take a quick break. We'll thank some of our partners and sponsors, then bring our viewers all the way to the checkered flag here at Barber, where you're watching round number 2 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series presented by the SCCA Foundation. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best-trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org. The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
And welcome back, everybody, to Barber Motorsports Park and round number 2 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series presented by the SCCA Foundation. I'm Greg Ginsburg, along with Larry Lefty McLeod. And Larry, boy, did we time this right as Eric Violette, first of our leaders in LMP3 to head into the pits. He had started to lose sight of Mike Dam there for a little while. Maybe he's hoping now that he can make it up under the pit stops.
Yeah, but one thing that hasn't changed is this battle's continuing as Lobano and Lucas are going to continue. And now Lobano may have finally gotten an opportunity here. Coming out of 8, are they going to go side by side through the S's? No,
And he
Lobano
got that
backs
car.
out.
Yeah, he backs out at the last moment. He really got that car to rotate well coming through the the corkscrew there and came right underneath Dragotta, got to the curbing and just could not get the drive out. But you know, we've said it here. It's so difficult to make a pass. I mean, you're certainly not going to make a draft pass here, but you really have to be carrying a lot of extra speed out of the corners.
Yeah, he's got a good line, though, and that tells me that by himself he could be a force to be reckoned with. He just needs to get that clear track because his line is so different, perhaps, than what Lucas is. As our overall leader, Bailey Petrowski, is in, scares the guardrail on his way in, but he does it. Let's see if he comes through, as Mike Dam then should assume the lead at this point.
Yeah, as Mike Dam goes by on the front straight, he is your new leader. Travis Schwenke, Mike Dam's teammate from Orion, comes down the pit lane. He's pitting in from 4th. And we saw that car go up on the jack stands, Larry. I'm wondering if Petrowski did take tires. I'm sure he's got a little bit of extra time that he probably could as he heads back out now.
We'll see. It looks like there's going to be a busy couple of minutes now with 20 minutes left on the clock. Schwenke continues.
And did not see Schwenke's car go up on the jack stands.
Yeah, these 1 hour races, it's tough to do a tire change and to make it worth it. The hour and 15s, you just have a lot more laps. But Kevin Carlisle is in from the lead in GT4 Pro.
Mike Dam now runs one more lap than Bailey Petrowski. He brings his car down the pit lane. Oof. And had to stand on the brakes as he comes in right behind Chuck Lobano.
Yeah. I think he avoided him, and I think he may have avoided the wall as well, but it certainly scared both.
And Tyler King now pitting in from 2nd in LMP3. Robert Schwenkler now pitting in, as well as Chris Klimovich. Schwenkler now up, still sitting in 5th in Pro, but I think he'd gotten around Neil Weston as well. Oh, he got around Weston earlier. So we'll see here how things play out as we're starting to see more of our GT4 drivers come in. As we, the GT4 window was going to extend around to lap 28. So most of the GT4 drivers still have maybe a lap or 2 in reserve, perhaps, before they need to come in.
All right, so Bailey Petrowski does take the lead back. Mike Dam's still about a half a second ahead of Eric Violette. So their battle is going to continue now with less than 20 minutes to go. This is the battle for 2nd spot. We'll see how this can go as Barrios pits from the lead in GT4. We'll see if this gives the lead back to Carlisle as Chris Thorman also makes his way in.
And Lucas Dragotta pitting in from the lead in AM.
Good lead of Jeff Jacobs and
Stephen
May. I think are the only ones that still haven't pit.
Yeah.
Jacobs does go by, so he's going to take it around one more time.
And in LMP3, I think Marlon Jones, probably the only driver remaining at this point.
Jacobs there right behind David Killow in that Apex Management Group Mercedes. Jacobs doing a good job tonight saving fuel. Really keeping the fuel load down, allowing him to go, we're talking almost 28, 29 laps on one fuel load.
Yeah, I would think that he'll probably be bringing the car in this time by, Larry.
Yep. And the battle continues. Violet at least showing a little bit of space there as they go around Greg Brockway in the Mercedes.
All right, Stephen May brings his McLaren down the pit lane. He pits in from 7th, and I think that means everybody except Jeff Jacobs, who was apparently turning another lap. Well, let's see. Jacobs should be coming through 16 now.
He is, with a whole host of people in front of him, and that should do it on pits as he's on his way in. See if he Mike dams the wall or if he gets through cleanly. That's pretty clean. Or should we say it, John Allen's the wall?
I was just going to say John Allen's the wall.
Thanks, John Grabowski, for the reference. That from a race. If you remember that, you are a serious subscriber.
Yes,
to this,
the race of Brazil.
Road Atlanta, I think.
Yeah, pretty much everywhere, yeah.
Yeah, done it a few times. Yes. Hopefully John's watching. Hey, John, I wish you'd get back there and do a couple more sim races. Looking forward to him getting back in. He's out doing real life racing these days, which is good. Let's hope he's not denting walls in real life races. All right, so these two now with about 16 minutes on the clock. Mike Dam now on the defensive. We saw this battle swapped about 20 minutes ago where Violet was doing all he could to hold Mike Dam. Dam finally got by him in one of the many melees, and let's see if Eric down there.
And you know, Larry, the other thing, both Dam and Violet would have a heck of an opportunity here. Petrowski did not have the best of pit stops. They actually made up about 4 seconds on Petrowski in the pit cycle here.
Yeah, about 3 seconds faster, I think, were Dam and Violet both than Petrowski. So you can see it there on the ticker. Look at it, we got all the stats. Petrowski with a 17.5-second pit stop.
Yep.
That's no Red Bull 1.9 seconds, that's for sure. I see.
No.
We lost a little bit. That may matter if Petrowski runs into any sort of issue out there, as the two behind him now chasing are less than 3 seconds back, but it's still a lead. A lead is better than no lead, as Tyler King now making his way through the battle and making his way through and back behind as he just let these two go underneath. And King
saw the puff of smoke and then the puff of gravel.
That lockup will do it. It's quick. As Leo Dragotta goes past Lucas down to the inside.
Now they're brothers, no longer teammates.
That's all it is. They are just brothers.
We learned that a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago.
He's just that driver down the hall. That's all he is.
Right.
We don't want to peel the curtain back too far, do we?
No, I don't think so. But let's take a look here, Larry, as both Lucas and Chuck Lobano come out of the hairpin and head over to the corkscrew. This is where Lobano seems to get a good run out.
Mm-hmm. But then there's just nowhere to go with it. And he's more efficient in a lot of places. That's where I wonder about his strategy to wait on his fueling. If he had gone in earlier, he would have had a chance to undercut, maybe get by at this point. But moot, he's got to do it on the track if he wants to win the class tonight. Look how smooth he is here through these dips. With that little last piece, maybe Dragotta with the advantage, but tight line. This
is where he goes with a considerably different line usually.
I like that. It cuts distance. Yeah, I'm a big distance cutter, being an autocrosser. Always cutting distance is a good thing. I think Lobano's doing the same. Oh, no! Oh. That wall's going to get close. It got close.
Taps it.
Oh.
Taps it, but more
importantly... Watch the re-entry now. This is going to hurt.
Yeah, Zach Mosley in the 37 is about 20 seconds in arrears, so Lobano should be able to hold on to the position.
Wow, he gets walls on both sides, one on the exit and one on the re-entry, but it takes away what was a great fight between he and Lucas Dragotta. That's going to give Dragotta now about an 18-second advantage on Lobano, but you said Mosley in third is now only about 5 seconds back. If there's any considerable damage to Lobano's car, that could be an opportunity for Mosley, but it looks pretty clean. He hit both walls very slowly. This is teammates Orion on Orion action. Schwenke and Hartley battling for fourth. Hartley had out-qualified Schwenke tonight, but Schwenke with the better race pace so far. lockup. Seen that a lot tonight.
We've seen it more often than not tonight there at the hairpins.
Oh, more lockup on the exit. And this is Hartley's opportunity.
That was a huge lockup there from Schwenke.
Hartley may have backed out. Did you notice that he tried to get on the gas coming in? I thought he had power down. He was going to go as Schwenke was still slow from the lockup, but backed out almost like he let Travis stay in front of him there. Interesting. And they are teammates. Could have been if he had any kind of contact there. Wasn't quite sure if maybe Schwenke was going to come around. So maybe that's where he backed out too. Schwenke has been the big mover in the LMP3 field tonight. Everyone else basically in the order they started, with the exception of Schwenke moving up.
And Larry, look at this. We were just talking about how much time Bailey Petrowski had given up in the pit stall. Mike Dam has now dispatched Eric Violet, and he is now only a little bit more than a second back from Violet's teammate, Bailey Petrowski, our leader in LMP3.
Now, I wonder if Petrowski either has a couple things. He could be a little slower, a little too conservative through some of the traffic tonight.
Yeah.
We saw earlier he had the freedom to be as picky as he wanted to be. Or as we get to 10 minutes to go, I wonder if he's worried about fuel loads. You look at his pace there. He did that 16.3, which is amazing, but he's been 18s all around since. That does tell me he's maybe just conservative through traffic. He can't be anymore. Mike Dam is on the hunt.
Yeah, and that time by Larry, Petrowski at a 17.3.
Yeah.
But Mike Dam down to a 16.5.
Yeah. Dam now has really turned it on, and out in front of him. Look at that, Petrowski even having to use a little bit of the grass there to get around the 55 of Stephen May, and now it's less than about a half a second for Petrowski's, and then Petrowski can feel that pressure. You see that go a little wide there coming out of the five. There are sharks in the water, and it's in the form of an Orion entry on the back of a D2D. This is not over. We've seen already Mike Dam dispatch of one of those D2D entries. Eric Violet, see if Dam's now got enough in the tank in 9 minutes. Kind of missed the apex turning in there.
Yep.
And it's going to see the rhythm. One missed apex. He ends up on the grass 2 apexes later. John Casey, I think, right there in that blue Mercedes.
Casey staying as far to the right as he could.
And then one of our D2D teammates there, Petrowski, goes around him. I think that was the 60 of Chris Thorman. And now look at this in front of him. That's going to be, I think, Brockley and Wedderburn. And those two are battling for position. I hope they're looking in their mirrors and watching this other battle come through.
Well, Mike Dam has now been caught up in a lot of that traffic there, as he's just now getting around Wedderburn.
And now you got a Sean Ankney, I think, in his BMW right in front of them. That slowed up a little bit for Petrowski.
It's almost as if we have the entire GT4 field in these 3 corners.
Just about. Now they're going to be following another one through. That's the 71 of David Killow doing everything they can, and that's going to be Mike Dam's opportunity. Is he going to take a tight line, or is Bailey going to go defensive? Petrowski goes defensive.
Yeah, and Petrowski's been getting stuck behind a couple of the GT4 cars. We saw there going into turn 13, into the tunnel turn, that he basically had to ride the bumper of one of the cars ahead, and it allowed Dam to close right back up, but Dam falls back again.
Yeah, that car that he was up behind, that was the one that united Chad Saber. And Chad doing everything he can in a tough place. It's very narrow there around turn 14 and 15. But Petrowski gets through. And again, he's got a little bit of breathing room here. Got about a second on Mike Dam. There's a lockup evidence in front of him as they come into 5. Not sure what that was. So they've got a bit of clear track here for a moment. An opportunity to breathe. See what kind of good pace Dam really has here. Petrowski, every time he catches someone, it's going into 15. That's Kevin Carlisle. That's your leader at GT Ford. Splitting the leaders in LMP3 right now. Let's Dam through.
Yeah, at this point, Carlisle's got a lot
Here's
of
Dam's
time between he and Barrios.
Yeah, Dam's opportunity now is Petrowski got held up by the 28 of Alabi, and they're going to go side by side, maybe, up through 2. No room right here. Petrowski's got a good defensive line, taking up a lot of real estate. That's Ruddick in the sights. Here on the chat, waiting here in the chat. Coming through, don't hear it. Pretty quiet. I doubt these two are on comms with each other.
Highly unlikely.
Yeah, teammates for sure. Like we saw Schwenke and Hartley, and they're probably all on the same comms together, but opposing teams often are not.
And Larry, I think the Klim Club isn't going to like this, but I think David Klimovich just had an incident that's going to drop him back into 6th position in AM. And Tyler King, looking to see if King was in the general area, because I think he had some issues as well. Let's take a look.
Now there's Klimovich. That's Leo Jagoda on one side, Tyler King on the other, and that's an ugly sandwich going on right there. That's a soggy bun on that sandwich. That is not how you want it. And that's damage on the front of the Porsche for David Klimovich.
That's unfortunate. So
he's
King
having a great
heads to
run.
the pits, and I'm sure Klimovich will probably see him do the same thing. Although we've got less than 5 minutes, he may try to stick it out, Larry.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But 5 minutes left. This is a pretty good battle to keep our eye on. The battle for second in LMP3, or sorry, battle for the lead in LMP3.
Lead.
Petrowski and Dam. It's going to be a battle through traffic. As next victim is Logan Doran. He's trying to stay out of the way.
Oh!
Is Mike Dam through?
Yeah, I was gonna say coming there through the through the corkscrew. There weren't a lot of places that he could go without driving the car off.
Dam gets through, but yeah, there may have been a bit of a scruff there. Well, there's a bit of a buff out needed on David Klimovich's car as he goes past him. I need a little Bondo for that one. Bondo with a Porsche. Blasphemy.
Oh my gosh, no.
That's Baron Glover letting these two play through. And Neil Weston can do all he can to stay out of the way. Chris Klimovich just ahead. We already saw what one of the Klimoviches got involved in. Chris is going to try to not be the next victim. Stay tight here. Mike Dam is going to use a little grass on the exit. All right, 3 minutes, maybe 3 laps. Got to see where we end up. These two will decide when the white flag gets thrown. Well, they don't get to actually decide where they are, when they are.
Now.
Decides. Yeah, if you're Bailey Petrowski, you're like, I'm done. Let's go check her. Let's get out of here.
Now.
That's not how it works, Bailey. All right, well, Bailey gets a rough exit there. This may be an opportunity. Mike Dam. Mike Dam is just throwing everything. He's just watching how much grass he's using on all the exits and all the corners.
I was at a race this weekend, Larry. A timed race, 25-minute timed race, and the race leader ran with 2 laps to go, ran 5 seconds off the pace that he had been running the entire time.
Just to run one last lap?
Yes, exactly.
Smart.
Yes.
That's smart. I don't think Bailey Petrowski is given that option right now with a 2-second lead as he goes around Schwenkler, who's still in 5th, GT4 Pro. So with 2 minutes, that should be one more lap till we see a white flag. So 2 to go, we think.
Yeah.
Labano getting passed by Petrowski. Labano still in 2nd. kicking himself for the issues he had there coming off onto the front straightaway.
And
Good
the
for
gap
Petrowski.
now- Yep, gap now between Petrowski and Dam, a little bit over 2 seconds.
But there's traffic ahead. You can see them. Petrowski gets through. I think it's Jenkins. And now he's got 3 of them to get through this whole 12, 13, 14 complex. That's Chad Sebring right in front of him. Makes good work out of him. And then I think he's got May in the McLaren here. And Jeff Jacobs will be next. That's pretty smooth passing for Petrowski. Well done. Is this white flag? Do we see a Barney?
There it is. White flag's in the air, Larry. One more lap here at Barber.
It's like Dam's going to need help at this point. Petrowski with about a 1 second advantage. I don't see much traffic in front of Petrowski now. He's working that white flag. This is their battle for 4th.
Schwenke and Hartley still having to take to the grass.
Hartley says it's game on, 1 to the finish. I'll use the grass. And they're going to go side by side through 1, and Schwenke on the inside. Advantage Schwenke, but look at Hartley.
Oh, he's got such good pace through there.
He does. He's got a good line. A little bit ragged, just throws you way off. And Hartley is not ragged through there. He's got it well controlled. This is an opportunity here. If he can get a good, strong exit, get the power down for Hartley. Schwenke, good defense, though. As Petrowski continues to lead by quite a bit. In fact, a couple extra tenths added to Mike Dam, to the lead over Dam. So Petrowski just has a couple of quarters to go. This is the best battle on the track for 4th. Schwenke and Hartley.
There we go. Bailey Petrowski taking the win in LMP3. Mike Dam coming across the line, finishing in 2nd. Great race. Let's go back to this battle now for 4th, as Eric Violette's going to come in 3rd.
Yep, Violette well ahead of these two. Let's see if Hartley's got one more move in him. He's got traffic, couple of Porsches in front of him.
Oh!
Is it up and under? That's going to be one of the Porsches into the wall. Wow, is that Weston?
That was Neil Weston, yes.
Oh, right in the last corner, was going to see a checker flag. Weston's going to drop to 5th now in GT4 AM. As Chris Klimovich, I think, gets by.
And coming out of the final corners here onto the front straight, Larry, Kevin Carlisle goes almost flagged the flag. Goes from 2nd to the win in the number 27 machine. 2 wins in a row for Kevin Carlisle. Congratulations to the SimCity Racing driver. Coming home in 2nd in GT4 Pro will be Mariano Barrios for Friendly Neighborhood Racing. And coming out of the final corners, coming across the line, Chris Thorman from D2D will take 3rd. And in GT4 AM, it is for the 2nd race in a row, Lucas Dragota taking the win. Chuck Lobano will finish 2nd, and finishing in 3rd, Zach Mosley.
Yeah, wild race. Really took a lot of precision. Getting through traffic definitely mattered, like we talked about at the opening. Strong pace for Petrowski. He's able to hold on. Great pace tonight for Carlisle, getting that win there. Now 2 in a row. And Lucas Dragota, he was under pressure there from Lobano for a while, but he comes in now. 2 wins each for each of our class winners have won both races so far this season. So it's going to be tight, but so far the winners are repeating.
That's it. So, Larry, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll talk to some of our podium finishers here tonight at Barber, where you've just seen round number 2 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series, presented by the SCCA Foundation. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts, Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best-trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org. The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Welcome back to Barber Motorsports, everybody. We're at Barber Motorsports Park. We've just seen round number 2 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series, presented by the SCCA Foundation. I'm Greg Ginsburg, along with Larry Lefty McLeod. And Larry, I know we had 3 winners. I was going to say I'm only seeing 2 of them, and I don't even think those are the winners. So let's do this. Let's take a look. I think we actually have our winners sitting in the green room.
They are queued up as told.
All right, well, let's do this. Let's first bring in our GT4AM winner here, taking the win for rounds number 1 and 2 from Dragon Sport Racing, Lucas Dragotta.
All right, Lucas Dragotta joining us. And Lucas, the final stat sheet may make it look like it was easy. You were the fastest of the AMs coming in. You ended up winning by a little bit of a margin, but the battle you and Chuck Labano had there for most of that race was a lot of fun from our side. How was that from your view?
Yeah, it was pretty scary. Chuck was very fast. I just kept consistent, and that's where I beat Chuck. So.
Yeah, he had one little off, but I tell you, that was a pretty wild both coming into the pit stop exchange. I thought maybe you get separated in the pits, but that didn't help. You came right back together again after your pit exchanges, and it continued on for like another 10 laps or so. Wild stuff. But what it means is you've got back-to-back wins now. You're 2 for 2 here to start out this season. What do you think about your performances so far?
Yeah, really happy how it's going. Hope I can stick what I'm doing for the rest of the season.
Yeah, strong wins there. A lot of traffic tonight, not just between you and Chuck, but a lot of traffic. Those LMP3s seem to be lapping you guys about every third time around. How is it when you're in a battle with someone like a Chuck Labano, and suddenly you've got 2 or 3 battling LMP3s come by? How do you maintain composure and maintain your focus to be able to not give up the position to Chuck while also making sure the other guys can play through?
I kind of went dirty trying to get my line, so he doesn't find a way to like get by me. And yeah, like again I said, consistency.
Well, it paid off tonight for sure, as now you've gone 2 for 2 for your Dragon Sport Racing, and that's awesome stuff. We'll see what happens in 2 weeks, but I'm sure you got some folks you'd like to thank for helping you tonight.
Yeah, you guys for this awesome broadcast. Everybody that does this league, it's awesome, super fun. My family, my parents got me into go-karting. My brother sending me setups, helping me through the track. And yeah, my family for supporting me.
Carts are where it's at. That's what I do. They're awesome. So
Yeah.
good luck in that. And but yeah, great job tonight getting the win here. Hopefully you get some kart wins under your belt here soon as well. But we'll see you probably even next week. So we'll see you then.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, everybody, that's Lucas Dragotta from Dragon Sport Racing putting his thumbprint on GT4 AM. Let's now move over to GT4 Pro, where we had Kevin Carlisle from SimCity Racing take his second win of the season.
All right, Kevin Carlisle joining us, and just like we talked about in the GT4 AM, we've got a repeat winner, and it's Kevin tonight. That long race, a lot of activity kind of around you, but most of your class interaction happened about 8 turns into this thing. What did you see at that opening time down through the corkscrew?
I saw a mirror full of McLaren. I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no. I just mashed the gas as quick as I could. I saw him lose it under the braking there. And I was just like, oh, hang on to it. I was hoping he'd save it because I really, wanted to battle and everything, but it was, I lucked out.
Yeah, that was shaping up to be something special, the way that you guys looked from qualifying, the pace that you and Schwenkler both had. It was going to be a pretty great finish there, and hopefully in 2 weeks we'll get some of that. But tonight, at this very difficult track, a tough place to pass, a tough place to race multi-class racing, you managed to pick up your second win of the season. Is this what you were hoping? Is this sort of like the dream of dreams to be 2 for 2 2 weeks in?
Yeah, that was the game plan. I just go in, try to do my best, give it my all, and hopefully that pays off. And did a lot of preparation work, and we did a lot of practice with the multi-class stuff and practices. It's so hard to get if a LMP comes by you and going into a corner, the aero wash just loses all grip off the front tires of it. Like even on a GT4, it doesn't have a lot of downforce. It still makes you very, very pushy. So you have to really time how you want to come into a corner if a LMP is coming to pass you. You have to really be careful.
Yeah, and the practice that it's hard to do sometimes, but it certainly seems to have paid off for you here tonight in getting you your second win of the season. So congrats on that, but I'm sure you get some folks and some teammates maybe you want to thank for helping you.
Yeah, everybody at SCR, they support me a lot for everything. Great group of guys. Special thanks to everybody watching. You guys putting on a good show. Our sponsors, Star Nursery, Monster Jordan, Oakley, Grid, and yeah, that's it.
All right, well, congrats. Awesome run here tonight. And maybe in 2 weeks, we'll see some of that battle shaping up. There's some tough competition in this class. So far, you've had a couple of good wins, but I think you're going to be pushed to your limits here the next time out. So
Yeah.
Good luck for that, but congrats on the win tonight.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, there you go, everybody. Kevin Carlisle, winner tonight in GT4 Pro for SimCity Racing. All right, Larry, let's bring in finally our third 2-time winner, driving for D2D Sim Racing in the number 115 Luget, Bailey Petrowski.
All right, Bailey Petrowski joining us. And Bailey, we thought for a little bit you were going to just ride off into the sunset and make this thing look easy. And about 10 minutes to go, we start checking in and seeing you had company. Tell me a little bit about that last 10 minutes.
Yeah, that was a bit of a nerve-wracking end. I saw the gap going down and down and down, and I think it was just because I was getting unlucky with traffic, but at least that's what I believe. I also did change one of my tires, so that could have had an effect on it. I changed my front left because there's a lot of tire wear on the front left throughout the practice sessions, but I don't know if that helped me or hurt me, but yeah, I had to defend pretty hard to not give up the position, and it got pretty close as well, so I'm happy I was able to hold on to it because I don't think I would have been able to get it back if he did get around, just because of how difficult it is to pass on this track.
Well, and we had seen a lot of it, while you were out in front and picking your way through traffic. Your teammate, Eric Violet, was having his own struggles with Mike Dam for about 2/3 of this race, and both it was one in front of the other, and then vice versa after the pit exchange. So we had a lot of that going on. We had seen some of it. This place is very tough to pass, but with that traffic, it creates opportunities, it seems. But you were able to avoid those opportunities at the closing stretches, and maybe this is how the season is going to go. It's going to be a battle right up to the end every single week.
It's going to be exciting if that is the way it is. I'm not as used to it. This was probably the sweatiest I've been after a race, just how stressful this was. But still, that's part of racing. it looks great on broadcast. It's fun for all of us, so I hope it continues. It does make it very fun. So
it makes a great broadcast. It gives us a lot to talk about. It's hard to keep up with all the action with things like the way they went tonight. So pretty wild to watch, but I know that you've got a nice big team and you got a lot of folks to support you. You want to give a shout out to them for helping you tonight?
Yeah, I want to thank my team as always. Want to thank all the sponsors to the series, all the sponsors for our team, helping make this series possible. Thank you guys for commentating on these races. Thank all the other drivers for showing up and showing good racing etiquette throughout the race. And I want to thank my friends and family for supporting me and watching the races and continuing to show support for me.
Well, a great team, great supporters helping you get to victory again tonight. One of these times you want to race, you're going to have to play us a little something on that guitar as part of your victory celebration. Just queuing you up. Doesn't have to be tonight, but one of these weeks. Just got to be ready for it.
I'll have to think about it. I'll have to try and plan it out.
Remember, we'll work on 80s Canadian rock songs, and we'll bring Mike Cam in with you.
Sure thing.
All right. Well, Bailey Petrowski, congrats tonight, taking the overall win here in LMP3 for T2D Sim Racing.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
You too.
All right, Larry. Let's wrap things up here for tonight. See, we could probably have like the entire LMP3 field be like a new boy band or something. Anyway, let's go and wrap things up. Let's take a look at what we've got coming up here in the next few weeks. Here in our different Ricmotech series. Next week, Monday night, May 20th, the Ricmotech World Challenge heads to the west coast of the United States to WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. We just saw IMSA there this past weekend. Then in 2 weeks, we're going to take the Monday night, May 27th off for Memorial Day weekend, and then we'll be back June 30th for the Sports Car Series. We're going to be heading out to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, another tight, twisty track with very difficult passing opportunities. We're going to have 2 30-minute sprint races here in the Sports Car Series at Mid-Ohio. And then, of course, come the end of August, we've got the Ricmotech Touring Car Cup for our GR86 and MX5 Cup cars. And make sure to join us there. You can go to where do we go, Larry, for the Ricmotech series?
We go to Extremes. Yes, go to Extreme Racing. I think it was XMS.
Yeah, XMSRacing.com.
There you go.
See what I put Larry to the test for once. He tested me all night long. I'm like, what's the difference between GT3 and GT4? No, so go to xmsracing.com and you can sign up for the Touring Car Cup. Anyway, Larry, thank you so much for working with me here tonight. I'm so lost. So for Larry Lefty McLeod, for Jonathan Grabowski behind the scenes, who has no idea what the hell is going in my head right now, I'm Greg Ginsburg, I think, and we will see you next Monday night at Laguna Seca. Have a great week, everybody.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.